You're listening to the Churros y Tácticas Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Churros y Tácticas Podcast. This is your host, Kiyan and Sobhani. Joining me on a Tuesday this week instead of a Monday is Diego Llorijn, my co-host. Diego, how are you doing, my friend?
Very good. Very busy times, but pumped and excited as always to be on this pod. Got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. And so little time, so much to cover, so little time.
So little time. So, I mean, we could basically drag this podcast, I think, a 24-hour reel, I think, if we could.
Yeah.
You could dissect every single match. You could talk about the politics. You could talk about the controversy. You could talk about individual players and their form. You could answer questions. Yeah. We're going to not do that today. We're going to go half an hour-ish to talk about La Liga and everything that surrounded it, including the controversy surrounding the new Spanish shirt, which I'm very curious to know your thoughts on.
Yeah, so indeed, that, of course, yesterday was the big announcement for the new Spanish team national shirt, the one with which we will play this upcoming World Cup. And as always, a lot of controversy, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of critical eyes were set on the release of the Spanish shirt. Did you get a chance to see it?
I have seen it, but I didn't really analyze it because I don't care about football shirts generally. I look to see if it's nice or not and great. I think Spain shirts get scrutinized a lot because you had the whole white one with the pasta throw up on it, and that was a disaster. And this one I didn't read too much into it until I realized after what it kind of symbolized. Yeah,
of course. I mean, there's a lot of people are saying that what they're seeing in the shirt is una camiseta republicana. So a Republican, the Republican flag is reflected in the shirt. It's of course an optical illusion, as it is not at all representing a Republican flag. And I think more importantly, what Adidas clearly has done is taken influence of past shirts, which loads of national teams have played the World Cup with. And in Spain's case, it was the 1994 World Cup shirt, which is clearly reflected in this year's shirt. Me personally, I don't know what the fuss is about. I don't read more into it than what meets the eye. I don't see a Republican flag in the shirt. I kind of like the fact that it's the 1994 World Cup shirt. That World Cup in itself brings back so many memories, not only of the Spanish team, but also still when the Dutch national team was a force to be seriously reckoned with. And of course, that dramatic game that was the end of Spain's run in that World Cup when Luis Enrique, of course, was elbowed in the face and got a bloody nose. We should have gotten a penalty. A lot of shoulda, couldas, but didn't in the end. But that World Cup brings back a lot of emotions, a lot of memories, and I think it's kind of cool what Adidas did here. And I really don't see what the fuss is about in this case.
That was the World Cup before I started watching football. So my first kind of football experience as a kid was World Cup '98. And
okay.
That, if you supported Spain at that time, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
98 was a disaster.
Nigeria, the Zubizarreta disaster.
Yeah.
Great game, though. I think it ended 3-2.
The only thing that, for me, that kind of was cool about that was Raul had a great volley in that tournament. I think that one was against Nigeria, too.
That was against Nigeria, yeah.
94, you had Luis Enrique, Pep, Julio Salinas. Raul wasn't there. Abelardo, Nadal, Hierro. It was a good central defender partnership.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't know what the fuss is. I think it's because of the time of where we are in Spanish history. It's a very sensitive time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Barcelona first.
Okay.
There's a couple questions on Twitter. I think we can just start with these two questions to get the ball rolling. Sidhat Vaidia on Twitter says, who is in worse form right now, Benzema or Suarez? Christopher McCormick also says Suarez can't score goal, which is a running inside joke on the Managing Madrid podcast because someone keeps tweeting us and saying Benzema can't score goal. So we can apply that to Suarez now. So this was the last note I have of the Barca-Sevilla game was that Suarez was getting whistled, especially towards the end because it just seemed like everything was getting worse for him. Yeah,
it was I was going to say an outstanding moment, but I meant outstanding in the sense of it stood out. I don't know if there's a word for that, not in the positive sense, but it stood out to me. Era llamativo, you say in Spanish. You don't hear that very often, and particularly not to a player the likes with the caliber of Luis Suarez. And I thought it was the reaction to the Los Pitos, to the whistles, was interesting as well because they were dampened by applause as well. And Luis, another weekend where Luis Suarez doesn't hit the back of the net. I believe, and you might know this better than me, but I believe at this point Luis Suarez has now broken his own personal worst or his personal best in terms of not scoring goals. I think it's something along the lines of 400 minutes where he has not scored a goal. And what stood out to me, though, was that in the 83rd minute, he was running back, tracking all the way back to the corner flag, defending a ball, and even able to recoup that. So, to me, that shows that las ganas están ahí, right? Like the effort is there, the will to succeed is there, but he's not scoring a goal. Now, you can read so much into that. To me, it comes down to the fact that he's playing with a kyst. This was again reconfirmed after the match. The kyst in his right knee. It is not hurting him, but it's clearly bothering him and hindering his form. I'm happy he's not going away this international break. He's taking the 2 weeks off. He will be working with the medical staff here in Barcelona on trying to recoup his form as quickly as possible. To get to the question in terms of who's in worse shape right now, it's a good one. I guess I can answer that best by taking I think Michael Jackson said it best, and that is you are not alone. Benzema's here with you.
You could probably throw Griezmann in there in the mix too.
Yeah.
And maybe like a bunch of other players, but those ones stand out for sure.
Right.
He's played over 1,200 minutes. He scored 3 goals. His expected goals are almost 9. Already in just 280 minutes, Alcacer is just as efficient as him, if not more. So with Alcacer starting in this game, I saw you on Twitter. I saw you were happy. I thought this would have been a good opportunity for Denis Suarez. Again, no Denis Suarez, but I mean, who could complain if you're a Barca fan? Because Alcacer was really good.
Yeah. So, no, for sure. What is it? And again, please correct me. I kind of get when I throw out statistics is because I listen to all these radio shows during, before, and after the match, and I either read them or I hear them somewhere. But I believe at this moment in time, Alcacer, the 9 matches that he has started for Barca, has converted into 9 goals. So you know that is maximum efficiency. You just can't argue with that. The only thing you can do is hope that he gets more minutes and even more starting minutes.
Well, look, he needs to play. I mean, the reality of last season was when Barca signed him, he was one of the most promising young Spanish players the nation had. And then
please remind our listeners about that fact, because that's the truth.
Yeah, but you don't play him. If you don't play him, you just you're not basically you can't sign a player of his caliber and not play him. And then when you do play him, judging him on that based on how cold he is, it's unfair. So it's good for him that he's getting a bit of a run now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I'm happy you threw that out there because I was also reminding the D-Sport viewers that Alcacer has been on the shit end of the stick, for ever since he arrived, and he's been the joke of the team. But we signed him for a reason, and we signed him because during his time at Valencia, he was the most, or projected to be one of the most prominent goal scorers, Spain strikers, also for the national team. And I believe, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but that he was even selected before Morata in some of those earlier matches when he started with Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And in Valencia, he was known for, being that very agile, quick thinking, typical striker, the one-touch goal scoring striker. And that's what we saw over the weekend. And I was very pleased for him.
Yeah. This game, Barca, we talked about this before the game too. Like I had no hope of Sevilla getting anything from this game, given their form.
Yeah.
And Barca started this game on fire.
Yep.
But you know what? I think Sevilla actually kind of grew into the game. And
they did.
In some ways, I think the Pizarro goal was deserved.
Yeah, it was.
I also think Pizarro played great for Sevilla. But, this is the thing, like, Sevilla, to me, are just... They put themselves in these precarious positions. Like, you look at the way they... And by the way, like, we also talked about how Barca, they're getting all these points. They don't look great. And especially you weren't happy. But then you were happier last week. Mm-hmm. When I was looking at them against Sevilla, I actually thought, you know what? Their eye test is pretty damn good for Barca. They actually look really good. And you saw Sevilla try to press them high up the pitch, and it didn't matter. Like, Barca always had these triangles. They were just getting out of it really easily. Yeah. And then Escudero, with a really silly... He miskicked it. He couldn't control it, which led to Alcacer's first goal.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed to me that maybe a team with a better press, more cohesive press, maybe unnerves Barca a bit more coming out of the back. I don't know. But so far, it still looks good. Like, I still, first we were talking about the points and like, okay, they have all these points. They don't look great. I actually think they look good now.
I want to remain positive. I am still curious, though, to see Barca against top European competition or national competition.
Do we count Juve, though?
No, I cannot. Juve had, 5-6, non-starting players playing that match, so I don't count. Also, I mean, look at this Atleti.
Although Barca actually did struggle against Atleti.
Yeah, exactly. And really, I want to see them against Valencia in a couple of weeks' time, and I want to see them in the Clásico, of course. I would like to see them in this next, not the next one, but the Champions League match in December against Juve, a healthy full squad Juve, and the latter stages, of course, of the Champions League. I mean, we're still only in the beginning of November now. It's great. We're getting the results. I think the play is getting better and better. You can see that our defense is immaculate right now. It's in tip-top shape. Valverde has all the players there that he needs to work with them in order to get the defense sorted in a way that is, indisputable. We cannot argue with the results on that end. And like I said last week, I feel that Valverde is kind of surviving, sobreviviendo, surviving this time now where he doesn't have a player the caliber of Dembélé, and we can expect, I think, a much more creative and brilliant offensively Barca side come the months of February and thereforth. So it's getting better. I still think that us culés are, with our history, our spoiled history, are very demanding of this team, and rightfully so. But let's take it step by step. You know what I mean? Valverde is a great coach. He's proving that out on the field. Yeah. He is so calm, so collective. It's I'm happy, but I'm also still expecting this to get better, for us to build on this. Because also, and I'll end with this. I don't think that today we can win the Champions League with this team.
Oof, okay, there's a lot there. The Valverde thing is really true. I think a lot of his it's underrated. Like, I will see Barcelona fans on Twitter slandering Valverde for his tactics, and I'm just wondering like how spoiled these fans are. Right. To me, I don't know if there was. To me, like, this team, for all the turmoil it went through this summer, the injuries it has now, with Dembele in particular, Suarez off form, Valverde's presence is very underrated. Yeah, to kind of stabilize. He's a respectable guy. He knows what he's doing, and he's very calm. I think that's huge. I also, you mentioned the Valencia game. I am interested to see Barcelona really tested. I still see some holes that haven't been exploited yet. But having said that, I think they are more than good enough to win the league. Like 95% of their games, I think they're good enough. And the games they won't be good enough. I'll tell you exactly how that Valencia game is going to go. Valencia is going to dominate the game. They're going to play better.
Write this down, everybody. Note this.
Valencia is going to dominate the game. They're going to play better. Barcelona will stumble into 2 goals, and the game will be 2-2. And then in the 99th minute, Messi will score a penalty.
99th.
99, 95, somewhere around there.
Either undeserved penalty or an offside goal, I guess, right?
I won't speculate that part, but but I am super interested in that game. I just have been a Real Madrid fan long enough to know exactly how Barcelona win games. I don't know, maybe it was just me to notice this, but I actually thought his passing was really off in this game. He gave the ball away a few times.
He did.
Only had 76% passing accuracy, which is low for him. Having said that, he had 8 successful dribbles and was a monster on the pitch, so it doesn't really matter. One more thing. I thought Semedo was fantastic. He was the standout for me for the entire Barcelona team.
Interesting, the standout.
Yeah.
Over Alcacer.
In a lot of ways, I think Alcacer was good, but I think Semedo's presence on that right flank is so good.
Yeah.
Both defensively, offensively, he contributes a lot. I think it's just a very good presence to have, and I'm just shocked that he's not a fixed starter yet. Maybe he is from now on. I don't know, but
I hope so. I hope to God. I agree with you. Semedo tipped up. I also thought Piqué was the Piqué of old, if I dare say so, despite letting Pizarro get the better of him on that corner. I thought I was liking Piqué's performance.
On that note, his partner Umtiti was a bit off for me. He was a bit shaky early on. He had a bad pass, and later, I don't know if you remember that really, really great chance that Sevilla had that Muriel just took the ball from Umtiti.
Muriel. I did. Yeah, I agree.
The question, just to go back to it, about who's worse, Suarez and Benzema. I don't know about who's worse, but I think Benzema's form affects Real Madrid more than Suarez's affects Barcelona. Because right now Real Madrid need his goals way more than Barcelona needs Suarez's goals, if that makes sense. Because you guys have Messi.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I would agree. But I also say, to add to that, is that it doesn't really matter if Benzema is playing bad or not. He'll always get a slot on that starting 11, it seems.
I mean, he kind of has to by default. I mean, if it were up to me, I wasn't that desperate from just my personal point of view about signing a backup striker. But that's because my tactical belief, and I thought what was best for Real Madrid, and I still think it's best to go with this throughout the season, is to put Ronaldo up there. And just put one extra midfielder. Make room for Asensio and or Isco to pack the midfield. And I think that's still a better route for Real Madrid to take. But he's going to probably start every game. Every important game he'll start.
Yeah.
And this game against Las Palmas really... Benzema's had a lot of criticism this season, and probably rightfully so, especially the games at home. I think he's been worse at home than he's been away from home. He was one of the better players against Tottenham when no one was good in that game. I thought Benzema and Ronaldo were actually okay. At home, it's the pressure. I don't know what it is. At home, he's been just a black hole.
Who do you think the whistles affect more? Because Benzema obviously got whistled at as well over the weekend by his fans.
I don't know.
Do you think it's more effective?
It's a difficult question. I don't know. I think Real Madrid's fans are more ruthless.
Yeah.
I think maybe when Barcelona fans start whistling, it's really bad though, because they don't do it as much. So, but when they do it, it's got to be really bad.
Yeah.
Because generally, Barcelona fans haven't really had many players to whistle at over the past decade, 2 decades.
True.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Maybe if you go back to the era of like Rockenbach and Giovanni and those players, those fringe players. But
yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't remember them single out players. It was more, the end of the Laporta era. The entire team would get whistled. Yeah, the board mainly would get whistled, exactly. But let me ask you something before you break down the Madrid Palmas match, because it was more of the same. I watched the match, Real Madrid Palmas. I got very bored. I started watching Curb Your Enthusiasm on my laptop as I had.
Curb Your Enthusiasm is a good show, though.
It's so good, so good. I'm actually rewatching the entire series because of the new season that Larry David released, or the Curb Your Enthusiasm. So
I didn't know there was a new one. I haven't watched it that much, but if there's one question right now I have for you, all the Madridistas, but I guess in particular Ronaldo, and this stood out to me, obviously not only to me but to everybody, when he gave that beautiful feed to Isco for, I think it was the definitive 3-0. Why so sad, Ronaldo? Why so sad, my friend? Because personal goals matter to him.
Why so sad? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with giving a beautiful pass? He worked his ass off all the way there, on the outermost position on the field, feeds a beautiful ball to Isco, slots it in for the 3-0, and it looks like somebody just shat on his plate of food or something. That's the face of him. Why so sad?
Here's my theory.
Please break it down for me.
One, why is he sad? Because obviously individual goals matter to him. That's clear. But my theory on this particular situation is that Ronaldo's actually given Isco a lot of good passes and provided him with some good goal score opportunities this season. I think his frustration is why can't you give me those passes?
No,
that's my theory.
Okay. That's
theory.
Interesting. I like that you say that, because I heard some Madridistas talking, and they were saying that, in fact, it probably falls in line with what you're saying, is that the reason why Ronaldo is so sad or frustrated and angry, etc., is because he is now playing with the likes of Isco, Asensio, players who play el toque, right? The kind of tiki-taka, say a Barca style of football, whereas he is more of a direct football player, wants the direct passes, the running onto the goal and the ball, and not so much as of a possession type of game. That is what is...
They're not wrong, I think. I think they have a point. I think you look at Ronaldo's favorite players in recent memory in Real Madrid, the ones who feed him goals. Ozil. Ronaldo was sad that Ozil was sold. Benzema, who has been off form. And contrary to popular belief, Ronaldo loves Bale. The amount of assists that Bale feeds Ronaldo is staggering.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
Bale was the type of player who will beat a player on the flank, or just use his blitzing pace on a counterattack and look up and look for Ronaldo and get the ball to him, and Ronaldo will score. Right now, Ronaldo just doesn't have all that. The other one that Ronaldo loves is Marcelo, and Marcelo's been off form too.
Yeah.
So I think they're right. I think Isco and Asensio are not the two players who are getting the best out of Ronaldo right now. Having said that, Ronaldo's been good.
A couple months ago, you guys won the Champions League with him scoring, 2 goals in the final, etc., with the same players.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think the players being off form matters. I do, I actually think Ronaldo has been good though. Not himself, but he, if you look at the last Palmas game, he did everything but score.
Yeah,
and he
exactly.
had 2 really nice cut-ins, and he almost scored far posts, and he was very close, and he didn't play badly. I think individual goals really matter to him. That frustrates him that he's not getting them. I don't know if you saw, but Jesus Vallejo, who by the way was also very good. In his La Liga debut, was in the halftime tunnels saying to Ronaldo, it's okay, the goals will come. And like that's what it's at. Like people like in the locker room recognize that he's sad about not getting his goals. He has high standards.
It's I totally agree with you. I thought he had an overall very good game. That's why I was so surprised when I saw him turn around and be so sad about this beautiful assist that he gave to Isco. And he also had the chances to score, as you rightly mentioned. And I'm looking at this now. I'm looking at these statistics here. It says remates realizados, right? Which means the shots, not necessarily shots on target, but just shots. Mm-hmm. Messi is number 1 with 69. Ronaldo is number 2 with 48. So if anything, we can argue here that it's his own fault for not slotting those in.
Yeah, that's
instead of blaming others.
You look at those numbers and you just have to wonder, like, his expected goals. I can't remember what they were, but I think he's expected to have 5 or 6 goals this season, which he just hasn't been getting, obviously. And everybody just thinks like, well, it'll come. You just have to. Hopefully, it'll come soon. I mean, we have some big games coming up. Atleti coming up. December is very important.
Yes, that would be great. December would be big, and I think they will come.
Yeah, I think it'd be naive to say that they're not going to come.
Yeah,
this guy he's built his whole career on proving people wrong.
Yeah.
By the way, I think for the first time in a long time, I felt that Real Madrid looked like Real Madrid again, and it only happened after Asensio scored that goal. That it seemed to pick the team up, the spirits of the team up after Asensio's just outrageous golazo.
For real, like what a que golazo, what a goal, typical Asensio goal. Just man, that guy scores some beautiful goals. What a cracker that was. I agree with you. I agree with you. I thought the beginning was sluggish, but as soon as that first goal went in, I thought it changed, and then of course Asensio with that cracker. Yeah, I agree.
So we usually talk about almost every single game on this podcast. Bit of an exception to the rule this time because we don't have that much time. We probably Diego, I think we'll record a bonus podcast during the international break to talk about Spain.
For sure.
And maybe we can hit up some more questions there. Maybe we can turn it into a bit of a mailbag. But just to run through some of the other stuff, Valencia is still on fire. I don't think so the second consecutive game, I don't think they played great. And I think it's because both Leganés and Alaves were good defensively, and they both play this counter-attacking style of play, which Valencia likes to play themselves.
Were you expecting more from Leganés though?
Well, that's the thing. I thought Leganés played pretty good. Like and this is the thing. We're talking about Valencia here, who are really good, and they can focus on the league, and they really have no obligation to rest players week in, week out. They play their full strength team when they have it. They had a lot of ball in this game, but I thought Leganés actually were okay, and I thought just like Alaves in the week prior. They gave Valencia a lot of trouble. They defended well. And then basically, I think what is eventually, like, you look at the goal that Parejo scored, the free kick to get Valencia on the score sheet. Every single player in the Leganés wall jumped. And that kind of just started to undo them. But I think, they had chances to level this game. Bovu and Szymanowski, both these players were off form, and I think if they missed clear-cut chances to make it 1-1, and then Valencia are just more clinical. Even Rodrigo, who's been off form and just didn't have a good game, he had a goal. It was a great cross in Pereira. So in the end, they were just more clinical. And I think a better counter-attacking team might have hurt them a bit more. But if we kept asking, when are Valencia going to fade? The eye test in the last 2 games tells me that they're not going to be invincible.
No, I agree. I think as well that Pichu, the Leganés goalkeeper, had a good game. In fact, he's having a good season so far. I think he's one of the reasons why Leganés is up there competing, because, like you said, their defense is very good, and their Pichu in the goal is having quite an outstanding season so far. But I find that's an interesting take, yours on Valencia. I'm sort of every weekend I'm curious to see them and see if they're indeed going to slow down. I feel that you're being a bit harsh on them, though, saying that they.
No, I mean, look, they're very good. It doesn't mean that they're not good. I'm just saying that I see things that can be taken advantage of. That's all.
Yeah.
We talk about sad players. We talked about Ronaldo. Zaza was very sad in this game. You had a couple of occasions where Guedes almost scored 2 golazos like he normally does, and Zaza, you looked at Zaza and he was just so upset because he wasn't getting the pass. And then when he came off the field, Marcelino was trying to get him to I
don't like that, man. Yeah, I just don't like seeing players like that, especially Zaza. What did I say last week? You called me an old Spanish man because I said it wrong, but I said be humble.
Yeah. I think I should stay humble.
I said stay humble. Yeah. Be humble, Zaza. Listen to Kendrick and be humble, dude. You're just breaking through now. This is your first real big season. Be humble, my friend. It's good to see that he's hungry, but I don't like to see that him getting substituted and giving attitude like that.
The Zaza-Rodrigo partnership has a combined 16 goals.
Right. Well, look at that.
Crazy.
I guess he was pissed off because normally Rodrigo gets substituted, huh?
Maybe. I don't know. It's
Rodrigo
an interesting take. I don't know. Anyways, there was a bunch of other scores. Betis came back 2-0 down from Getafe, and they were lucky not to go down 3-0.
Yeah.
Atleti, just another dud. Thomas Partey saves them with another golazo late.
But
Depor thought playing
great
well,
goal.
by the way. It was a very boring game, but Depor at least have taken strides, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Ever since they sacked Pepe Mel.
I agree. And before we skim over this one, I have to mention, where the hell is Griezmann? You mentioned it as well at the beginning of the show. But if this guy really wants to sit at the table with the likes of Messi and Ronaldo, then he's got to step up, man. He has to be more consistent and show exactly what he's made of.
He just doesn't look interested to me.
No, exactly. Did you see that picture that was going around the internet?
No.
At the beginning of the match, probably some of the listeners will know this, but tweeted to Kiyan, tag him because I want you to see it. But there's a picture going around of they take the picture of the starting 11 before the match.
Yeah.
Well, before the players were even settled. And actually, the first picture was taken right in that instant. Griezmann was already leaving, checking out. So you see him walking away, and the rest of the players sitting down. He's looking a different direction. He's walking a different direction. I think that was very symbolic of the current state, perhaps, of him with this team. He's checked out.
Interesting. Yeah, send it to me. Oh, I just saw it.
Okay.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah.
How does that even happen? That can't be intentional.
Yeah, but it's symbolic, isn't it?
It's symbolic, okay. So, Valencia 3, Leganes 0, Betis 2, Getafe 2, Depor 0, Atletico 1, Alaves 1, Espanyol 0. Alaves look okay like the past few games. Levante losing at home to Girona, who've won 3 straight. Celta beat Bilbao, who are just free-falling. Real Sociedad 3, Eibar likewise are just... another Basque team who's free-falling. Villarreal 2-0 Malaga. And that puts us the bottom 3 right now. Malaga's still struggling. Malaga, Las Palmas, Alaves.
Can I quickly give a shout-out to Girona, who officially now are the most successful team to have ever relegated in their first season from second to first division. Yeah.
And in their very first season in La Liga.
That's the... part of the stat is yeah
jokes on me. So we have an international break, but very, very big game between two teams who are tied currently on points. Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid, the very first derby in the Wanda, and should be fascinating.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you expecting? A drubbing? Or a tough game? You're not expecting a loss.
I'm going to take your advice and be humble. My gut tells me Real Madrid will win this game, though.
Yeah. course.
But that'll be an interesting game. And international break coming up. Diego and I will keep you posted on when we record, probably sometime after the Spanish national team plays. Although, I don't know.
Any other, like, edge of your seat internationals that I need to be aware of?
I don't know. I honestly, with the international break, I know what's going on day of. That's it. That's the extent of my care for the international break.
No.
I wake up in the morning, look at the schedule, like, oh, okay, this looks interesting.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. Hey, did you follow the Super Clásico over the weekend?
I didn't. No, just too much to watch. But did you watch it?
No, I didn't. No. It was at a crazy hour here in Europe, and they didn't even televise it. So no.
Well, I mean, this weekend also. This is one of the. I feel guilty because I deviated away from La Liga this weekend in particular because we had Chelsea, Man U, City, Arsenal, and then Bayern and Dortmund.
Yeah.
Okay, Diego, always a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll stay in touch and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, Kiyan. Have a good one.